In the late 1990s and early 2000s, Vagrant Records put out, without a doubt, some of the best punk and emo records on the planet Earth, many of which were highly influential on Audio Karate and our music and stuff that we listen to a ton in the van. So in today's video, we'll break down the 5 best Vagrant Records releases. All right, these are in no particular order. Let's get it kicked off with No Motives and The Sadness Prevails. Like this record a lot. It was recorded by Trevor Keith and Chad Blinman, the same production and engineering team that did our first record, Space Camp. From the opener, Nostalgia, through to the end, in my opinion, the best No Motive record. The songs are super cool and catchy. It's something that we played a ton. We got to play with No Motive several times over the years. Super nice dudes, and they always put on a good live show. They recently put a record out on Wiretap Records, so check that one out. All right, moving along, we need to get into the Audio Karate group text thread. And for our next record, let's say Face to Face, How to Ruin Everything. This record came out just after we recorded Space Camp. Trevor gave us advance copies. They came on CDRs and had like a little face-to-face stamp on them. Maybe they're collector's items. We should dig those up and put them on eBay. The opening track, Bill of Goods, super cool. Why Would I Lie? It's just a super solid record. I don't know that there's a bad song on the album, and I don't know in terms of face-to-face fans, like I don't know all of their records. I don't know how this one stacks up per se, but as a band, we've listened to this record hundreds of times, and it's one of Husto's favorites in particular. So check it out. All right, referring to the handy dandy list, we've got a tie between 2 Get Up Kids albums, either Guilt Show or On a Wire. So On a Wire was where they blew up after Something to Write Home About. It is definitely a change of pace for the band. There's a lot less distortion. It's a lot more of an indie record than sort of a pop punk emo record. But there's some fantastic jams on there, and definitely a good record. But then there's Guilt Show. When On a Wire didn't have the wide-reaching commercial success of the Jimmy Eat World records like Bleed American and Futures, I think they sort of went back to a record that sounded like, oh, you want a Get Up Kids record? Like, here you go. We can write songs that sound like 4 Minute Mile and Something to Write Home About all day. And they released Guilt Show, and it's a really cool record. I like that one quite a bit. All right, so referring to the group chat, there was some back and forth on, do we go with Saves the Day, Stay What You Are, or Alkaline Trio's From Here to Infirmary? And this is a really tough one, because while Stay What You Are has fantastic production, and at the time I think it solidified that Vagrant was going to just snatch up every good emo band on the planet Earth and every up and coming emo band around. Art and I were discussing this, like, it's a cool record, but I don't think Saves the Day ever topped through being cool. At least not in our eyes, and Art concurred on that one. So with that, we decided that the next Vagrant release that is super kick-ass would be Alkaline Trio's From Here to Infirmary. What a good record. From Here to Infirmary was released on Vagrant in 2001, and the guys and gal from Tsunami Bomb, who we were touring a whole lot with in 2002 and 2003, were really big Alkaline Trio fans. This is one of those records where at the time I was like, I don't get it all that much. Like, I like it, it's simple but cool, but over the years I've really come to appreciate a whole lot more. Has Private Eye, Stupid Kid, Mr. Chainsaw, I'm Dying Tomorrow, so it has a ton of Alkaline Trio greatest hits. but this was definitely a record that helped them blow up, and one of the best Vagrant releases in our humble opinion. All right, so that gets us to number one, the best Vagrant Records release of all time, and this should absolutely be no surprise to anyone that hands down Something to Write Home About by the Get Up Kids. All right, so Something to Write Home About was released in 1999, so that would have been the senior year of high school for Art, Gabe, and Husto, and my second to last year. And dude, what can be said about this record? Record begins with Holiday, which is by far one of the best opening tracks to any pop punk emo kind of record ever. Even better, in my humble opinion, than Bleed American as the opener to Bleed American, as hard as that is to kind of stomach. Like, the opening pick slides on Holiday are just so dope, and then any song that's played in open E is just really satisfying. It's kind of hard for me to explain. So you got Holiday, goes into Action in Action, then Valentine, then Red Letter Day, 10 Minutes to Downtown. Like, the whole record's just awesome. And at that time, I think Something to Write Home About really signifies, I think personally for us, and then we were able to see sort of the scene around us in LA and the Inland Empire and Orange County changing. Like, people were transitioning out of listening to like Fat and Epitaph bands so much, and we're really getting into bands like the Get Up Kids, and everyone went from having sort of the NoFX like super fast beat to playing more mid-tempo kind of songs. We had already been listening to 4 Minute Mile, and we're into that very much so. And I remember when we bought Something to Write Home About, it was like, okay, this is what Audio Karate is going to sound like. Like, we're hanging up the Lagwagon sort of speed, and we are going all in on this. So I think if you listen to Space Camp, the influence that Something to Write Home About had on that record is super readily apparent. We got to see the Get Up Kids touring that record at the Glass House and at the Drive-In Opened, and that's one of those shows where it's like, dude, you got to see Get Up Kids and at the Drive-In. It's like, yeah, I was there, man. Can't say enough about the record. It was engineered and mixed by Chad Blimman, who did Space Camp. So if you A/B them, the record sounds very similar. And Get Up Kids, I feel like historically have gotten shafted. Like, in 2025, I don't feel like they have sort of the same legacy Jimmy Eat World do in terms of bringing kind of emo to the masses, at least that sort of Midwest version of it. But I would argue that Get Up Kids are every bit as important and every bit as good as Jimmy Eat World. Some honorable mentions that'll be thrown on there. Eels put out a bunch of records on Vagrant. I love Eels. I think they are immensely talented, and one of those bands where they've got probably 12 plus records, and if you like one, you'll like them all. There's gems on all of them. Their Blinking Lights double album that came out on Vagrant was super good. Gabriel really liked that Lemonheads record that Bill Stevenson and Carl Alvarez played on, that was done at the Blasting Room. The Saves the Day record's pretty good. In Reverie was all right. We listened to that one a fair bit, but again, I don't feel like Saves the Day ever reached Through Being Cool status. Again, what are your favorite records from the Vagrant catalog? Comment down below and let us know. If you think our list is stupid, comment that down below as well and let us know. please subscribe, help us grow the channel, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.